and welcome to the Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph and I live in Columbus, Ohio. Pardon the hair, pardon the face. I guess it is 2026, but 2025 and 4 was the year of my skin wanting to have allergic reactions. So that's what we're dealing with today. If it looks like I'm sad or I've been crying, I haven't. I'm fine. It is just a reaction. Okay, let's get into it. This video is going to be everything that I can find that I knit in 2025. So let's get into it. I have a lit candle for some ambiance, and it is titled "Smells Like This Meeting Could Have Been an Email." My life is meetings, and unfortunately many of them can't be emails, but it's fine. I have like a really lovely pile right here, and then I have a complete mess over there, and yeah. You can find my social media in the description box below. I am LuluisCrazy on Ravelry, but then I am a Traveling Knitter podcast on Instagram, and obviously you found me on YouTube, so I don't need to give you that. Let's get started. I knit, I should compare. Did I knit more this year or did I knit more last year? My gut is telling me I knit more this year, and my calendar would tell me that as well, because in 2025 I did not train for anything. I trained for my very first marathon, and I did run a marathon, and then I ran a half marathon at the beginning of 2025, and then I haven't really done anything since then. And so I had a lot of time for knitting, as we will see. I do have my iPad right here just to help me with all of the things that I have completed. And I will be running some B-roll of me wearing mainly the sweaters. I don't think you necessarily need to see me wearing the shawls, but give me feedback if you prefer to see also the shawls being worn. So let's get started. I think the first thing I finished was my cozy classic raglan. She looks like this. This is the front, and you can see there's some short row shaping, so it has a lower front neckline. And then here's the back, and you can see where I carried my yarn. Can you? When I'm wearing this, you can see it. And here, I'll show you how I carried. Let's move this. You know, maybe the candle wasn't a great idea, because if I'm gonna hold yarn up, there you go. Yeah, you can see this. So I used, for my cozy classic raglan, 2 yarns held double. Oh, and this is a Jessie Made Design pattern. This used Dye-Mad yarns in their Chester sock, and I ended up using basically 2 skeins to make this. And this is in the National Bubble Tea Day colorway, which is a purple. And then I held it double with Rowan Kid Silk Haze. I believe the colorway is called Lilac. I thought it was a perfect match. And for that, I ended up using about 3.8 skeins. So for my size, which, let's grab my notes, because I will also have I shouldn't have put this so far away. You know, I tried to be aesthetic here. I tried to be nice. Tried to like look nice. I have a Valentine's Day setting for my table, And here I am, and it's just not economical or usable for me. Okay, let's grab, excuse me, where is this? There we go. Here's the pattern. I knit the size medium, which has a bust circumference of 42 inches with waist shaping that I don't think I did. No, I did not do the waist shaping. And raglan depth of 9 inches. Yeah, so this is her. Let me check. I know I made some modifications, and I did add this on Ravelry. I switched out my regular ribbing for twisted rib on the cuffs and the hem. So it is different than my neckband. Why did I do that? I don't know. I was just feeling twisted rib when I did this, but I think it looks really nice. I am very satisfied with the sweater. I really like it. I think the yarn combination is great. It is a bit of a looser fit. It is a bit more flowy. It's a bit more airy. So what do I wear underneath this? I have a couple long sleeve, very, very, very thin shirts from Uniqlo. They have some that are in their like heat tech line, and then I specifically like the scoop neck because when I wear this, you can't see it. And I have like a pinky nude and then a taupe nude or tan nude, and that is what I wear under most of my sweaters, to be honest, because I unfortunately find mohair itchy. This one is not bad, but I will still wear something underneath. And I really like this. This was a success. This turned out really well. I recommend Dye Mad Yarns, and I would recommend the Rowan Kid-Silk Haze. Dye Mad is local to me and is actually the yarn store that I go to knit night here in Columbus. So if you're ever in Columbus, it is south side in an area called Marion Village. It's just below German Village. If you are a tourist and you're looking at the villages of Columbus, you are most likely going to go to German Village. That's where a lot of like local touristy things are. There's a local bookstore that is famous, too strong to use, but it's a well-known local bookstore. It's called the Book Loft. Absolutely breaking some fire codes there, but it's a very, very old building, so it's probably grandfathered in. Regardless, Marion Village and the store, Dye Mad Yarns, is directly south, and of course you can buy their yarn online. So knit this in a medium. I'm a big fan. I would knit this pattern again. I would recommend this pattern, and I would knit with both of these yarns separately or individually again. And I finished that in January. Okay, next is an annoying thing. I finished a pair of socks, the Lotte socks by Emily Joy Ricard. It's a pattern out of one of the 52 weeks of socks. I can't find this yarn. I can't find the sock. I have looked between 2 days. I have looked, obviously not for the full 2 days, but in 2 days I have been looking, and I don't know where these socks are, which is really annoying. So anyway, you'll be seeing a picture of these socks. I used an Ash and Bumble 80/20 sock set. I believe it's in the fall equinox colorway. Ash and Bumble is, I believe, semi-local. They show up at a lot of the craft shows that are in the area or yarn festivals that are in the area. One of the yarn stores around here carries them. I really like her colorways. They're really lovely, and this one I just thought was so unique because I had a bluish gray plus those like fall purple colors. So I really, really liked it. The pattern, The pattern was okay, but I wouldn't knit it again because the lacy bit that is kind of off-centered was not the most fun thing to knit. I had to pay too much attention to it, and I wasn't enjoying that as much. Something else unique about these socks, I believe it was these, I was using a needle that I purchased in Germany in a department store, and it was like a needle brand that I'd never heard of. I enjoyed the needles, but the needles bent too easily. So I'd have to look. I don't know if I even have them anymore because I remember they were around something and they significantly bent, and I can't remember if I could get them straight again. So that was something unique about these socks. I like the socks. I like the end result. Would knit with the yarn again, would not knit the pattern again, but I wouldn't say don't knit this pattern. It just wasn't my favorite thing. And there are so many sock patterns out there that if I didn't like 100% enjoy my time, I'm not going to make it again unless someone, in my circle specifically asks for it. Next, probably my pride and joy, lovingly called my Olympic sweater. And here she is. So she is called the Olympic sweater because I cast her on and only knit on her while I was watching the Olympics, specifically soccer, because that's really all I care about. I have too many hobbies to be watching all of the things, and so soccer it is. This is the Cardamom sweater by Twin Knits, and I'm going to pull this up a little bit closer so you can see. It is kind of like a modified broken rib. I really like this. So she is made out of Angora, and you can see how fluffy she is. And she is so soft, unbelievably soft. I love the pattern. I love the way this looks. I love how long and much of a focal point the twisted rib is on this sweater for the hem and the cuffs. The size is great. The neckband is not stretchy at all. It does go around my head and it is not tight around my neck, but I do have to put the sweater on before any makeup because it'll get all over, and even my dry shampoo. So I do sometimes use dry shampoo that has the brown in it, and so with that sometimes it will come off. I love her. Now, here's the negative. Angora sheds. It sheds. It sheds all the time. I have worn this several times. This gets everywhere. It gets in my mouth if I'm wearing lipstick, lip gloss, or if I just have opened my mouth, or if my mouth is super dry and like cracked. This literally just I rubbed my hand or touched my face and there was Angora on it. So that's probably the biggest downside to the Angora, is that I have to be mentally prepared to have fluff on my face when I am wearing this sweater. I have worn it to work once, I think, and it was super warm, but the fluff got all over the black pants that I was wearing with it. So you need a lint roller if you're going to be using with Angora, in my experience. If you've used Angora before and you didn't have this experience, I would the is all Angora like this? Is this just a nature of Angora? The This doesn't put me off of Angora, but it makes me really think through if I'm going to spend the money on something that's going to shed this bad and actually affect my daily functioning, because I'm on calls and I'm like, and it just looks unprofessional. So anyway, my review of this. I do truly love this. This is one of my favorite sweaters that I have made. And it just, unfortunately, I don't wear it as much as I had hoped or thought I would, and really just because of the fluff. Maybe that'll tone down if I continue to wash it. Also in the winter, it is very dry. You can see I'm like picking, I need to like put this away from my face. I don't know if you can see the fluff, but it's really dry and staticky. And I think that's also contributing to the fluff. Like, it looks insane when I look at it, but it's so nice. So I knit the medium size, which has a sweater circumference of 103 centimeters. Everything is in centimeters, and I unfortunately do not have the conversion memorized, so sorry for that, but that is what I knit, the medium. And let me double check if I made any sort of adjustments. I don't know, I'm feeling like I might have, did I make an adjustment on this one? No, it's not. Nope. So I knit this one exactly to pattern. So my review. Yarn, like I said, was a local farmer Angora that I purchased a couple years ago, maybe Greenlawn, which is one of the cemeteries here. Oh, I can't remember, but it was local, so I don't think you could buy it online. While I loved the yarn, and it did have like somewhere thicker and thinner, but in the end, the sweater, you don't really notice it. So I love knitting with the yarn, but it is so fluffy. And that's single strand. Pattern, would absolutely knit this pattern again. I would knit the sweater again. I would knit it for myself. I would knit it for somebody else. It does have is that contiguous where your raglan is kind of like curvy? So it has that. It fits nice, and it just is so elegant, and I feel like it is a store, like it looks like I bought it from the store. And that is the style of knitting that I like, when it does look like you could have purchased it from the store. That's all I have for that guy. And I finished that in March. Next up, we have a pair of socks. And these are the Noel socks. Noel knitted socks by Winwick Mum. These are the West Yorkshire Spinner holiday Christmas socks and yarn from 2024. So I cast these on like December 1st, and I finished them in June. I took a bit of a break. The West Yorkshire Spinner yarn is a self-striping yarn, and I don't know if you can tell, but it does have stellina sparkle, and I believe, is this gold stellina or is it, I think it's gold. It's kind of hard to tell, but I do believe it's gold. I followed the pattern. I have since given that pattern to, it's like a booklet. I gave it to my mom, and the pattern is free. I gave the booklet to my mom, and I gave my mom the leftovers of the yarn for the socks so that she could make them herself. I told her she'd have to modify the leg to just make it a little bit shorter. And so she could probably make her sock like this and potentially add a cuff or a toe to get another pair out of that skein. Okay. It's a sock. You know, you kind of just knit it to what makes sense for you. Would I knit with this yarn again? Brand? Yeah. Would I knit this exact color? No. That's why I gave the leftovers to my mom. Would I knit this pattern again? No. Not with a self-striping, because other than the fact that you can see that this is skinnier and then it's wider, you can't tell that there's even like a pattern happening here, right? Like, let me hold this up here. Can you tell? Right? I mean, you could probably visually see that the stripes are being interrupted, but there are pearl bump stripes, not stripes, like diagonal pearl bumps happening. And you can't see that. So I don't love that. And then my other gripe, which I did talk about in my podcast probably multiple times, was the way that the pattern was laid out. Not how it was written necessarily, but the way it was laid out caused me to not see that I would be knitting ribbing for the cuff before I started this waste of time pattern here, because you can't see it. So I would knit this in a solid color. Like, I think it would look really lovely in a solid color, but not in a stripe, in my opinion. I do like the socks. They do say Christmas to me. I haven't actually worn them. I forgot that I had Christmas socks, and so I didn't wear any this year. So, whoops. I did put them on. I know they do fit, but I just haven't worn them for any sort of reason. Tea break. This is a new, okay, yeah, great. This is a new mug from Coil and Clay. Very cute. Discovered her in the latter half of 2025. And I'm drinking Earl Grey, caffeinated. It's almost 6 o'clock, but I just like Earl Greys. Earl Greys are my favorite. Next thing. Okay. If you were to ask me which knitted item I used the most, it would be a tie between these next two things. My Moon Cloud shawl and my Manhattan Light beanie hat. Not necessarily worn together. Let's talk Moon Cloud shawl. This was a Artemis Yarns advent calendar that I purchased it was a 2023 advent calendar, and it used singles and it came with a pattern. I have talked about this a lot on my podcast because this took me a long time to knit. I also have a lot of notes about this on my pattern that I do need to add into the Ravelry. Essentially, this is the Moon Cloud shawl. It is designed by the dyer of Artemis Yarns. The pattern might be free, and the way that this pattern is designed is you have either 4 colors or 3 colors, I believe. Let's again pull up the notes, shall we? I love that I have switched to digital notes instead of printed off notes because it is so easy to maintain it. Okay. Let's go all the way to the beginning. Here we go. So you can create a fade with either 4 colors or 5 colors, or you could use a 24 mini skein and, you know, just figure it out as you go. I went with the large size, but I modified it. And so I had to do some maths to make sure I would have enough. And I had calculated that, I'd calculated like what my grams usage would be and all of that jazz. So you start on the end and you increase and you knit, and it's a garter piece, and then you are doing a lacy piece. And in the original pattern, you are going to end with the opposite stitch situation, right? So what I mean by that is this would have ended with lace, this would have ended with garter. I didn't love that, and my advent calendar came with 6 colors. And so I wanted to use, or did it come with 5 colors? No, it came with 5 colors. What am I saying? It came with 5 colors, but in the pattern, you only use like maybe 20 grams of the 5th color, and it wouldn't line up with this. So in this example, you knit one section in color 1, and then you knit section 2 in color 1. But to end it, they only wanted you to use color 5 on its own for one section. And so I wanted to mimic it so that it would be similar. So I made some adjustments so that I could do that. And this is the result. It is a massive shawl. But I get a lot of comments on this shawl. A lot of comments. Like good comments that they really like it. And I really like it too. I love a single ply. I love knitting with a single ply. It just feels so nice, and there's no twist, and it's beautiful. So this is my moon cloud shawl. I love it. Would I knit this again? Not for myself. There's a lot of shawls in this world. Don't mind knitting others. If someone were to want this exact thing, yes, I would knit it again for them because I did enjoy my time. Would I do, what else? Would I recommend the pattern? Yes. But like I said, I modified it because I wanted to use more of my colors. If I had, I'm looking at both the large and the small, and both of them do that where you don't use the last color twice like you do with the first color. I think I would always modify that. I don't love that. So I would knit it again for a friend. I would recommend the pattern, but I would then share what I did with my updates. Okay. Manhattan hat. I have now made several of these for like donations and stuff, and I'm a big fan. I really like it. This is the style of hat that I currently prefer to wear, where there's a bit more up top, and I love the way that the top works. I didn't love how on me I ended up with longer bars where the increases are or the decreases are. So I didn't love that, but I just need to work on my tension or something. The yarn, I really like this yarn. This is Collier in Black. I don't know if you can still buy this. I bought this on Etsy way back, and it was a gradient, like a speckled gradient. I have a bit more of the orange left, so in theory there's a little bit more orange than it goes into white. I don't know what to do with it, but I have it. And I like it. I do wear this hat a lot. Would recommend the pattern. Would knit it again. Will knit it again. Have knit it again. Next up is my clay sweater by Ozetta. This I have worn several times, and I am also proud of this. Not because the pattern is necessarily difficult, but because of my turnaround from purchasing the yarn. I purchased Tumalo Fiber Ghost Town DK in the dark roast colorway, like a coffee. It is a brown with a bit of red. I purchased this in Portland at Sacred Sheep. So I purchased this in mid-November. This was my Advent yarn in 2024. I did an Advent for myself where I bought some things and I wrapped it and I numbered it and made it a surprise, but I did calculate when I would give myself skeins to make the sweater. So I was knitting on this sweater during December. And then I finished this in July, at the end of July. And this is one of the sweaters that I wore to flock. So I purchased and knit and wore this sweater within a year, which is, maybe for you is old hat. That's how you knit. That's normal for you. For me, it's extremely abnormal. It is something that I'm working on changing, but yeah, so I was just really proud of that. I knit the size small with, this is a 44.5-inch bust, and I believe I lengthened the sleeves and it fits perfect. It's perfect. This is a success story. I would knit this sweater again. I actually do have plans to knit this sweater again in a more rustic, like this is pretty drapey and it's really nice, but I would like something a bit more rugged, and I would knit this pattern again. I would recommend this pattern. I would knit with this yarn again, and I would recommend this yarn. So this was definitely a win. And let me see. Yeah, no, other than the sleeve alteration that I mentioned, no other adjustments on my dark roast. I also completed a crochet project. This is the Moss Stitch Shawl. I think it's by Two of Wands, Sarah Zimmerman. This is crocheted out of 1 1/4 Karen Blossom cake in the colorway Cabana. I just wanted to get some more crochet under my belt and just, use up a Karen cake, try a crochet pattern. I like this. I don't love it. What do I not love about it? That I've tried to block this out so much. I think this is just a side effect of the way that I crochet or something. Because I don't know how to get this out, and the other pattern, like the pictures don't really have it. So when I was wearing this, I would just kind of fold it down a little bit and then wear it like this. And I think it looks so cute like that with all of these kind of ripples here. And I love the tassels. Oh, I think the tassels are really, really cute. This is in my pile for gifting because I feel like it's such like I don't know why I keep turning it around. It's gonna look the same for you. It's like such a neutral and it looks so nice. And this is also something that I feel like you would pick up in the store, and it looks so nice. And I've been seeing on my YouTube channel that influencers that don't knit are wearing like triangle shawls again. I don't know if they were wearing mini shawls, like how the mini scarves have gotten so popular in 2025, but this is on my, something that just fell. This is in my gift pile for if I ever need a gift. I have something, and it's beautiful. Like, I think it turned out really nice. I would knit this pattern again. I really liked how simple and easy it was. I would work on figuring out how to get rid of that top triangle piece. And I absolutely would add the tassels. I really like the tassels. I think they are really cute. And if I get better at crochet, it would be nice to figure out how to make it wider, like widthwise than lengthwise rather than width. So that was my moss stitch shawl, completed in August. Like I said, I would make the pattern again. I would make it for somebody else. And I didn't mind crocheting with this yarn either. I wouldn't go out of my way to get Karen blossom cakes because acrylic is just not something that I love working with, but it was nice. Next up is my streamline tank. And I thought I'd woven in the ends, but I don't know if by wearing it, my ends have come undone or something. I'm not sure. I feel like my ends are, I don't know, they're really short, which is why I feel like I did weave them in and then they've just come undone. Anyway, this is my streamline tank. And this is by Alexandra Tavel. And I knit this out of a yarn called Amber Taylor Combed Cotton Decay. My friend got it for me. She lives in New York. So, and I think the yarn was maybe from Maryland or something. Don't know if you can buy it, where you can buy it, but it was really nice. The yarn is called Eat a Peach, and I feel like it's such a creamsicle color. So beautiful. I did make the back slightly longer for the body. I did a split hem, which I think is in the pattern, but I adjusted the split hem because of making the back longer. I also adjusted, so in the pattern, the front and back are identical. I didn't want it to be identical, so I made the front focal center with the twisted rib. I knit that to pattern, but then the back, I shortened it a lot, just so that there would be a difference between the two. So I started seaming from the top down so that I could make this even, since I did know my back was longer than my front. And like I said, I drastically shortened the twisted stitches in the middle so that there would just be a difference between the front and the back. And I really like this. I would knit this pattern again. I would use this yarn again. Would recommend. I like this. This looks really nice in the summer. I don't have any notes about the size, and I know this I knit from a website. I ended up using 1.6 skeins of my DK, so that was about 464, and yeah, I don't remember the size, unfortunately. It probably would have been maybe the medium or the size 3. I knit a whole bunch of washcloths last year. They're just washcloths. They're in my bathroom right now. I'm not gonna bring them, but I did make 3 or 4 washcloths. And I think that's all I brought with me to flock to knit on because I just wanted these washcloths done. Oh, and I made like a towel out of the same set. Next thing that I finished was my Frankie sweater. This is the Frankie sweater by Sunness God. And what is my front and what is my back? Okay, there's my front. This is, I knit the size small, and it is in the Macadama book that was very popular several years ago. It's got a lot of great patterns, and the yarn I used was Sunness God Kos, and yeah, I pretty much followed it to pattern, and I do need to make an adjustment to this. So I didn't knit a swatch, and I made the assumption that this yarn would bloom and stretch a little bit. That is false. It did not, like, at all. And so my sleeves are a little bit too short. I like my sleeves like this. These sleeves are like this. So they are above my watch. I don't know. Does this look fitted? Ignore this. Does this look fitted to you? I guess, is this a bracelet length sleeve? To me, this is yelling, your shirt is too small. That could be the millennial in me who went to school with thumb holes in her sweaters and always had her sweaters like this or like this. So I love her otherwise, but the sleeves are a little too short for me. So I have barely any leftover yarn. What I'm gonna do is cut right around here on the sleeves. I'm gonna split the like half skein that I have into two, and I will lengthen this as much as I can lengthen. If I had another skein of yarn, I would also lengthen the body, and I would do the same thing. I would cut right here and lengthen it, but I just don't. And I know if I were to get more of this like crazy poppy color, the dye lots are not going to match, and it's just going to be too drastically different. So the body I can live with. The sleeves, every time I wear this, the sleeves annoy me. They are just too short. But otherwise, it's really pretty. It is itchy. Kos is a blown yarn, and for whatever reason, I really like knitting with blown yarn. So I've used the Knit Picks one, which is Wonder Fluff, and that one's my favorite for how it feels. It is the softest, but it has the least amount of color selection, and the color selections are very like primary in my opinion. I love like a jewel tone or a bunch of the neutrals, and there aren't that many in Wonder Fluff. Then you have the drops version of the single ply or the blown yarn. That one is really inconsistent, where the fibers that are blown into the cotton casing, it's just not even. So when you're knitting it, all of a sudden you'll get to a part where there's no blown fiber inside of the casing. So it'll go right like here, and then all of a sudden it's this, right? Your gauge goes from an errand to a fingering weight because there's nothing there. The drops colors I think are just a little bit nicer because they're much more neutral and muted. And then Kos has a lot of poppy colors, and I really like the colors, but of the three, this is the itchiest. So this one I also can't wear next to skin. I do have to wear a sweater underneath, or not a sweater, a long sleeve shirt underneath. Would knit the pattern again, would still knit with this yarn again, but it's not going to be like a go-to of all the blown yarn that exists in the world. I have another pair of socks that I believe I finished this year. I don't have a page for them on my Ravelry, but I did find pictures of me blocking this year. So these were a test knit, and these are from the Cat. I think Cat and Dog is separate. Doodles by Pacific Yarn Co. And these are very tight. I am a tight colorwork knitter. With the way that I hold my floats, they always end up tight. So I attempted to create my two cats. So the middle one right there is Astrid, and then the more stripy one is Edifix. And that is me holding 3 colors. I was holding 4, because you can see they don't have eyes. So I should duplicate stitch the eyes, but I just never got around to doing that. The main color is a Lolo Did It yarn, and I love it, but you can't really see it in this light, but when I blocked these, I blocked them with another sock, and those bled onto these. And those socks I'd worn several times, so I just didn't even think that they would bleed. But they're really cute. I really like them. I love the idea of these on socks, but again, I've knit several colorwork socks and they are always uncomfortable to put on. Would knit the pattern again, but maybe I'll stick to the cowl or scarf. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you I finished, but it's not fully finished because I'm waiting on buttons. And I have been searching for buttons, and I finally found some I think will work, and they're in the mail somewhere. But this is my Solaris tank. So it looks like this, and the buttons will be here for the button band. And then I will be able to wear her. I am concerned that I did not make the straps long enough, because when I put this on, the armpits are kind of like digging in. So we'll have to see. If that's the case, I have the tiniest of tiniest bits of yarn left from this skein. This is one skein of fingering weight yarn in the, what is this called? Nice and Knit. They no longer dye, but it was crab cakes, and yeah, one skein made the size 4. I did have to use a different yarn for the edge, but I feel like the pop of orange is perfect, especially because there are pops of orange. So yeah, this is by Maria Jesus Camus, and hopefully I like her. I, of course, have a little bit of concern. The pattern does roll, and because of the styling, there is a pretty high chance that the straps will just constantly fall down, because, you know, this is basically an open back. But we'll see. We'll see how this works. I think it looks beautiful, and ultimately, if they continue to like fall off, what I will do is I will do an I-cord, and I will join the top together, and it'll be fine. So I think all the things that I'm worried about, I can fix with this. Would I knit this again? No, because I feel like this is a statement piece. I don't need multiples of this style, especially because I am a little bit concerned it won't work. I wouldn't knit it for anyone else either, because this was a labor of love. This took a very, very long time to make, even though it's only one skein of yarn. So I would not do this again. I also feel like there was an issue with specifically the size 4. I looked at a bunch of the pattern pictures from other people, and everyone that knit the size 4, their lace didn't line up. And so I did a very small adjustment so that my lace would be straight. So that's my only thing. I don't know if I would recommend the pattern. Also, the size range isn't very big last time I checked. So, yeah. And the last, oh no, I have a couple more things. I'll just do these. I made some donation hats. I do this every year. I knit a bunch of hats that I then donate. I kind of stockpile them. This is just a ribbed hat that I made up. And then this is a broken rib hat that I made up. This is using Knit Picks Aran weight. Oh my gosh, I can see it. It's a tweed, comes in either DK or Aran weight. I'm a big fan of it. Oh, that's so annoying. And this is just their acrylic yarn in bulky, I think, Big Stitch? Bravo, it's Bravo is what this is. There are many patterns of broken rib that you can find online, but it's not hard to figure it out if you know how to knit and purl. The last project that I made for myself is my step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller. I am a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of how the sweater turned out. I used Lion's brand Fisherman wool in 3 different colors. I was fully inspired by Katie Does Knits, her coffee stripes project, as so many people have been inspired by her version of the step-by-step sweater. So I pretty much did what she did. I decided to do, and I don't know if this is also what she did, I did 10 rows of my main color and then 8 rows of my stripes and alternated. And I think I lengthened my sleeves for my sweater as well. And that's what she looks like. This one is also a little bit too itchy. Mainly it's too itchy around my neck. I mean, just holding it is itching me. So I went to Uniqlo and I purchased a couple turtlenecks to wear underneath. I don't like turtlenecks. I've never liked turtlenecks. I feel like it's choking me and it just makes me uncomfortable. But Uniqlo has extremely thin undershirts and they're not waffle or anything. And so I thought I would try their version, and I don't know, they're almost like, they're funnel necks is really what they are. They're not so much turtlenecks, they're funnel necks. I do prefer it when there isn't like a seam around here when it's just part of the fabric, because I think that pulls or tugs less on my neck. But this is one I absolutely have to wear something underneath, and I do like something around the neck because the neck is the part that is bothering me. I made, let's see, I still have my notes up. 1, 2, 3. I made the 3rd size, which is size C, and that it has about 110 centimeters for the finished bust. So pretty. Such a fan. If you're curious about the colors, I used oatmeal as the main, and then the 2 stripes are brown heather and then nature brown or natural brown. had to buy 2 skeins for oatmeal and then 1 of the stripes each, and I have so much yarn left over. I could make another sweater if I did maybe micro stripes and had more of the stripes than of the main color. I could make a whole nother sweater. Would I knit the step-by-step again? Yeah, I liked it. It fits really nice. It's very easy to follow, and it's a free pattern, and my friend is making one as well, which is actually why I knit this, so that I could knit the pattern and then assist him if he needed any assistance. I really liked it. I would recommend. Would I knit with the fisherman's wool yarn again? Yeah, I would. More as an outer garment, but I would knit with it again. And I probably will, since I have so much left over. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap on about all of the things that I finished in 2025. I would love to know, did you make any of these? If I were to guess, if someone else who is watching this has knit anything that I have knit, my guess is going to be step by step. I think that's the one that you would have knit. Tell me if I'm right, or tell me if I'm wrong. Also, what was your favorite thing that you made? Is the favorite thing that you made the thing that you're wearing the most? Or is it not? Like with me, my favorite thing that I made, I unfortunately am not wearing it the most. So, interesting. Hope you enjoyed it though. Be sure to stick around if you did. My next video I am very excited about. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. I have created a game for knitting. In the vein of year-long readathons or reading challenges, I have gamified my knitting. So if you're interested, hit follow, subscribe, wherever, or just come back for that video. I'm very excited. You don't have to participate. No one has to participate. I'm creating it because I gamify everything in my life. And so why not gamify my knitting as well? Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.